Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Belgian countryside as we go through and begin our trek through the Ardennes. It's Circuit Francorchamps that will serve host for round two of the FRL Championship here on F123. I am Nexi. I am joined in the box by Pritis. We'll have 18 minutes of qualifying underway shortly. How are you?
Well, well,
Yeah.
doing well.
I'm glad you are doing well, my good friend.
This Spa-Francorchamps track out in the Wallonian countryside, 4 miles to be specific, the longest track on the F1 calendar, if memory serves me correct.
Believe you are right. 7.001 kilometers at one point, uh, which was, funnily enough, um, a little bit too long. Like, it's by the letter of the F1 guidelines for tracks, too long. Just barely. In all practicality, it's not. But that's kind of a fun little thing. Very famous corner as our first Aston Martin of Skylar is going to be sitting the initial lap through a Rouge Radion and then onto the Camel Straight.
Rouge Rayon, Kelstraight, both death-defying sections of this infamous circuit.
Indeed, not quite as difficult as they used to be, but still a challenge, especially on colder tires, to get through. And now we are going to be going through the hairpin here as we make the run on down the Puan, going through No Name. I know it's called Speaker's Corner, or I think it's X Corner now.
Yeah,
And now we go.
Jackie X curve. Call it.
Yeah. It is pretty much No Name in my heart.
That's how it's been for the longest time.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, at least to English commentary.
Yeah, and as somebody who speaks English, I think that is quite how I will rule it as I'm watching the Aston Martin go through Blanchiment, approaching the bus stop. The bus stop not quite shaped like a bus stop anymore, as Sierra's internet has struck again and early. Canadian will be setting our banker time. We'll then have a couple other drivers going through. Most are going out right now. Is there some kind of weather, potentially? I know rain does tend to come up a lot.
Yeah. And it makes an already tractor circuit just that slight bit more dangerous.
Indeed. Behind him is a McLaren. Orbix out uncharacteristically early here. We do have Noble 8 in the Williams, a reserve coming out to race
Noble
a little bit first.
Yep. Noble was our new face this season.
Indeed. And from what I know, from what I know from some of the paddock discussion, he had some good pace, at least in time trial. We'll see what he's able to get, though. We have two Saubers out there today, Kimaru and Laz. We have two Ferraris this time, Mavie and Zahao. The second McLaren's back up in the name of Death Circle. Two Red Bulls. And only one Alpine this time in the form of Random.
But Skylar just invalidates at the very last second at the bus stop.
Yeah, that's the worst one, especially here on this track. It's so long that soft tire is gonna just degrade. It's not gonna be a prime tire. And because of where he invalidated too, he can't, like, do another lap right away. Even if he wanted to. 141.2 for Corvix.
So instead, first blood goes to Corvix instead.
Yep. Random is out of the session. Did he hit the wall over by the bus stop? Because I'm seeing the yellow flags over there.
Yeah. Yeah, from where his dot was, he must have hit that pit entry wall.
Yep. Zahao sets his second lap a 142.6. Good position for the Ferrari right now. Out of the drivers coming in, and then we're gonna have a couple crossing the line. Luck, a 143.5 as the first Williams across the line. Pipped out by Kimaru with a 143.3. Had a little bit of a hiccup there. Do have a couple more drivers coming in. I think that there's a Red Bull on the way. I think that is Sierra about to start his flying lap.
It is.
And we have Skylar, who is invalidated over there. We have Avo on an outlap. I think it looks like Noble is setting a pretty nice time. As he is working up to the bus stop now. Gonna break at about 100 meters. Gets that apex. Not quite.
146.3.
Not quite the time he was looking for.
Yeah. Though I hear he's also trying to get used to these ground effect Formula One cars.
Indeed, indeed.
You're quite a bit different from those 2017-21, those Aero monsters.
Yep. They don't spit up as much air. At the very least. I think that is a Williams going into the pits. A couple Sours around. And here comes Sierra. One of our expected top-end competitors here. So far, nobody's been able to get around or touch Corvix this time. Lenny should be able to do that. Most notable absences are Mercedes duo, headed up by Leo, who got third last time out here. Sierra sets a 142.1, putting him on the front row provisionally. Corvix currently leading the Drivers' Championship after his win in the first round in Bahrain. Red Bull are currently leading the Constructors. They had one driver finish on the podium. That was Sierra. Or not Sierra, that was Lenny, excuse me. Sierra finished in the top 5. Gonna have Lenny going through. Taking this nice chicane and then going around. Approaching this hairpin. You want to kind of hold to the right, almost double apex it a bit. Then go out. No name, you want to take it as flat as you can. Put on a light tap to rotate the car. And you want to get in and set up the run there.
Seem to have an acid spun around.
Indeed. We do have it. That is Avo. And I am seeing rain coming down now. This explains the rush.
Yeah, I'm seeing droplets too.
Oh dear.
This throws things. Yeah. This throws a wrench into so many things now.
Yeah, Lenny is going to be able to set a time, but it's a 142.7. I think lower grip's starting to get to him. He may have waited just too late to get out there. I did see the unusual rush towards the start of the session. Figured that the rain was coming. Predicted bowl time in dry conditions is about 140.8 here. And well,
think this is one of the first times this season will all all of the races and qualifying sessions we've covered together that starts raining mid-session.
Yeah.
And DRS disabled, yeah.
Yeah, so this will probably be our grid. There will be a couple positions toward the rear of the pack to
Yeah.
settle out
Um,
between uh
probably,
maybe Skylar and Avo.
yeah, but for the top nine, this is probably it.
Indeed. Circle with a 147.2. Noble, our newest driver, with a 144.9, did manage to beat out Laz and
This,
split the Salvers there. Lux getting a front row start, though.
you know, you're just booking it on row start.
Mm-hmm. Orbix is going through the fast sector 3 now, going to be approaching Blanchiment. He is booking it. I think he's just getting in some wet weather practice right now before entering the pits. And oh, yeah, there he goes into the pits.
Yeah,
Little
and I
skittish
see it.
around the
Yeah,
curves.
and I saw a tire just left
Yeah,
on
that could have
pantry.
been.
That
Yeah,
might that might have been randoms, probably.
yeah, I think that is a very French-shaped tires. Maybe really struggling for grip on those softs. The Skylar sets a 156.7.
And maybe struggling is a Brazilian struggling wet weather. That's that's almost unbelievable to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, normally aren't Brazilians freakishly good at changeable conditions?
Yeah, though to be fair to that one, the Rain Master was a German. Uh, a German known for producing shoes, I suppose. Welcome to now etymology with Nexi and Pridas. Yeah, you could see how the wet just really struggles with the to get some good traction for those slicks. Like he maybe just cannot put the foot down especially in the braking zone here. Look at that.
Yeah,
He's practically on skis as he is going through with a 212, 214.0.
which is which is just wow.
Yeah. Avo and the Aston Martin does have the intermediates on, those green
Yeah,
walled tires. We'll see what time he's able to get, if he is able to back up his teammate.
yep. And
If he just,
by that point, Lenny and Noble are already out on inters.
yeah. I suppose it is just practice for those two. They're not going to get any faster on the intermediates. But
No,
we
no,
really. Oh,
but Noble said spins out.
indeed, he does. He manages to kick flip it back. That car is remarkably in one piece for having looked like it wanted to be with the barriers.
You know, especially going up Rouge and Rayon, which, may I remind you once again, is even more dangerous in the wet.
Yeah, that is like in the wets when you get really close to that old feeling, especially for Eau Rouge and Radion, when the cars didn't have as much aero. You have to lift through, maybe tap the brakes just slightly to get the car in. I'm watching Avo go through Blanchiment. Looking pretty strong through the bus stop. Gonna be able to beat out Mavy's time, maybe even their teammates' time. Indeed, that is a 155-1 from the British Bird. Here comes Skylar now going through the sector. He's going to be on an outlap. A couple other drivers getting in the wet weather practice. There's a Ferrari out there. That's Mavie, who has spun again. They are not going to have the time to get through. There was another bit of tire. It looked like a pretty hollowed out tire. Somebody should really get to the marshals, you know. Having that little bit of debris on the track is quite dangerous.
But apparently they must be having a beer.
Yeah, can't be bothered in the Belgian torrents.
In the often unpredictable weather of the Wallonian Ardennes.
Indeed. We go through these thick Ardennes trees right now. Skylar's the only one who has a shot at improving his spot over, and it would be over his teammate for the last points paying position. He's going to go through La Source now, and he's wide. Well, I don't think he's going to be improving over his teammate. as it looks like this is going to be the ending grid spot. And he is also invalidated in Eau Rouge, I assume, cutting the corner there.
Yeah, invalidated. Just add insult to injury.
Yep. Several drivers going to be retiring out. This is not due to any crash or anything. They are just doing that so to skip the waiting time.
Yeah, it is just solely down to wet weather.
Mm-hmm. Still 30 seconds left. Might expect a couple more courtesy retirements to come in, but Corvix does get pole by over a second. The rain did gift him the shield from a challenge from Lenny, who was out there as trying to push it as late as he could into the session. Fortunately for him, he timed it just a little bit too late, as Skylar is also going to do a courtesy retirement.
Mother Nature, unfortunately, had other plans.
Yeah. We will get to see Lenny in his wet weather practice to finish out the session. Does manage to take that curb pretty well as he breaks into the bus stop. You can see the difference compared to what we were seeing from Mavie earlier, that the intermediate tires make in these conditions. It is a very strong time. Corvix sets the strongest session with a 1-4. Corvix sets the strongest time of the session with a 141.2. Luck in second. His first front row start of the year. 142.1. Probably also blessed by that from the rain. See where it rounds out the top three. 142.1. 200ths separated those two. I do apologize for speaking over you, by the way, for that.
Yeah. I was probably gonna finish reading that sentence for this time.
Yeah. And the rain continues to fall. We'll be expecting quite a downpour.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have about 2 minutes. What were you gonna add in, Brutus?
Looks like we'll be looks like Lady Luck, proverbially speaking, is gonna give us the first wet race season in the first wet race our TV cameras are going to catch.
Yeah, I think every time we've threatened to have rain, we've had resets that kind of got in the way of the weather choices. Uh, yeah, I don't think we've actually ever covered a wet race here. Wet races are very interesting. First of all, the normal tire rules, for those who don't know, they do not apply here.
And throw them out of the window.
Indeed. Tires, you can use uh one compound of the soft tire. Canada season 3 was not on our broadcast. Uh I don't even think I drove in that one. Did I? No, I did drive in that one
And
when I was with Skylar in the Aston Martin.
and by that point, this Shell FSN didn't even exist back then.
Yes, and as we all know, our institution has a 2-season memory.
At this rate,
Yeah, so technically our first wet race since Canada season 3,
yeah,
and our first broadcast wet race. So it's been a while for a lot of these folks. We'll see how they are able to adapt. Rain is the great equalizer, so they say. And it is because of the low grip, the tricky conditions. You can have really fast, slick pace, but if you're it rain brings out entirely different skills. It emphasizes your ability to control the throttle, to trail brake. It's very tricky conditions here. Plus, with some of the assists some of the drivers will be running, it does make it a little easier to drive in the wet, especially those on higher levels of traction control.
this level playing field, it does make things easier, but it's this is still some pretty unforgiving conditions to tiptoe around.
Yep, indeed. And to finish the point on tire strategy, you are able, if you could take this set of intermediates or wets you are starting on all the way to the end, as our a French driver once demonstrated for us. You can keep going on these tires as much as you want, and you only have to use one soft tire, or sorry, one slick tire compound, slicks being the soft, medium, hards, at this track here to C2 through to C4, by the way. We'll see if we get to see them in the Grand Prix itself, or if the rain will choke out that hope. Other big change, no DRS. DRS will be disabled in the rain. It's good old-fashioned racing.
Well, go fast racing with some battery power.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I mean, well, yeah, I got nothing to counter on that one
Yeah.
as we are awaiting the start.
And fun though, the two Frenchmen had the benefits of a red flag. And that podium that Black Alpine simply didn't deserve, in my opinion. But I digress.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Everyone's least favorite car livery.
And even then, there's then no red no red flags. There's still the mandatory pit stop thing.
Yep. All right. Our leading McLaren Corvix on pole and our championship leader gonna Gonna be lining up next to somebody who's had their first front row start. It is Luck. Our second row will have the leading Red Bull of Zero lining up next to the leading Ferrari of Zahao. Lenny is in the back. He got second last time out. He's going to be looking to get back up into those podium positions and continue to mount a challenge for the title. Then we have the leading Sauber of Kimaru finishing, I think this is his highest starting position of the year so far. We have Noble in his rookie race, and man, it is going to be a challenging rookie race.
Yeah. Trial
Followed
by
up by
fire, they
Les.
say.
Indeed. Followed up by Les. Fifth row of the grid, the second McLaren of Circle, and the leading Aston Martin of Avery rounds out the points-paying position. We then have on the sixth row, Skylar and Mavie, and then we have our sole Alpine of Random. Our formation lap is now trundling on through Sector 2. Going to be approaching Puan in a few moments. Puan's a much trickier corner in these conditions as well. It's already a very tricky corner in my mind. Luck's pulling right up behind that McLaren.
He is right up on that gearbox.
Indeed,
Too close.
Luck last time out got into a really tough scuffle with Corvix, one that he was warned for. And it seems that the blood between these two is already maybe starting to flow as we go on through into Sector 3.
That blood's still boiling.
Indeed. It is fitting that our first broadcasted wet race will be here, is it not? No.
Let's hope it doesn't start the way 1998 did.
Ah. Yeah. Although, to be fair to that one, it did give us one of the more memorable finishes of an F1 race as well. As well as a very, iconic image of an angry German. Driver is now going to be lining up onto the starting grid. Which these angles do I want to go with? 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. FRL is away in Belgium as we look. Corvix gets the beautiful launch. Luck is tucking in right next to that gearbox. Sierra's going to be right behind. The spray is kicking up as Luck kind of pushes him into the apex wall of Lasaurus, and this is letting Lenny catapult his way up into second. Sierra gets into third through the concertina effect in Lasaurus. There's a very heavy one, but the field has managed to survive turn one. Some could say that this is a pretty good accomplishment right now, as Corvix nearly has a second already after the drivers were banging around each other. Laz up at the P8 now, as Circle is struggling for position. No, Laz is off. Laz off, kind of having to struggle in that braking zone around the Camel Straight here. As the Aston Martin's looking to get back into the points, it's Skylar leading the Aston Martins. These two are having a wheel-to-wheel battle in the back here. As Laz starts to tumble down the order as we go through No Name Corner. And this puts Skylar back up into the points-paying positions now that he was so keen to hold on to. Avery down into P12 on the opening laps. And we are going through. Lenny going to be tucked in right behind Corvix, who has already edged out a bit of a gap. And we have Sierra back here, who's currently struggling to fight with Luck. Luck is going to probably have a run as we go through Blanchiment. Driver's going to be fighting it out right now. All of them are on the intermediates. Nobody has dared to put on the wet tires.
It's not wet enough to facilitate those kinds of tires.
Indeed, the spray is being kicked up now as these drivers almost parade through the opening lap. Lap 2 of 22 begins right now. And these drivers are going to be fighting along as... Ooh, we have yellow flag. It looks like it's random, kind of having a spin on his own back there, but it's very quickly cleared. That Alpine does look pretty healthy. I think it was just a slight skid. Lenny is gaining in the Camel Straight. He does have a lower downforce setup, it looks like. Might have been able to start to edge into that gap.
Make the slightest inroads.
Indeed, it'll be a very tight gap. Some of my gaps in the middle seem to be having some trouble. Williams is chasing down the Red Bull of Sierra. Hold on.
Which that Williams happens to be Luck.
Indeed, Luck was on the front row. He has been overtaken by both of the Red Bulls. Red Bull 2-3 so far is going to be very good for their constructors fight. Oh, I think they want a little more, especially a driver like Lenny. Lenny is a championship level driver. Luck has a time penalty already. He went a little bit wide on the exit of Blanchiment. So now getting past Sierra is going to be crucial for his race. Looking further back, Noble is currently keeping up with the back of this little backpack in the lower end of the points, headed up by Mavie and Durgle. Then we have Laz in P10, who managed to get by Skylar earlier. This is for the last point in the order right now. Skylar going to be looking to fight on hard and strong. Corvix and Lenny, meanwhile, are kind of in their own little league up there.
Just only less than 2 seconds separating the two.
Indeed, though Corvix is gaining time on the German behind him.
Unless it seems to be gaining time on the corners, would be.
Indeed, that does point to a higher downforce setup. It does make sense. I know Corvix does tend to have like 6 setups every track,
which I consider it overkill, personally.
Yeah. Ooh. Luck getting very shaky as they go down through Sector 3 right now, and that's going to invite Zahao to potentially make a move into the bus stop. He's going to keep it close for Blanchiment. Luck struggling in these conditions right now, and it looks like it's coming undone for the Williams and the Hungarian.
He is trying to push that sorrel thing as hard as it can possibly go.
Indeed, he is keeping it right on the apex through La Source. Zahao not able to get the run he was looking for to capitalize on this. And he actually lost almost 2 tenths through Eau Rouge there. We do have Kimaru gonna be fighting with the Ferrari of Mavie, who just manages to do a slipstream and battery pass. And Zahao gets by Luck. Yellow flags are over there. I think Luck may have gone off.
Yeah, that was Luck who gone off there.
Yep, look at that gap now. Now 3 seconds to Zahao. Zahao has 1.4 to Sierra, who is just going to be in his own little race for a bit. These two going to be fighting it out. Luck is struggling in these conditions, though.
Evidently.
Toward the back of the points, we do have Laz not struggling as much as the Canadian dragon behind him. That's Skylar.
Yep,
He's going to be...
there's still tons of pressure comes with having the Aston Martin just sniffing into your gearbox.
Indeed, Noble has a 3-second time penalty for going off track multiple times. Time penalty's already coming out, and it is only lap 5. That just kind of shows you how much the drivers are struggling out here in these conditions, both for the grip and maybe just misjudging corners, going a little too deep into them, taking a little too much speed out of them. Can you even see the difference between the lines of Laz and Skylar here as he starts to fall back from that last point-paying position? The gap up front's being held relatively close at around that 2.1 second mark. That's a little update on the fight for the lead here. Zahao falling behind to Sierra. Not quite able to get the pace in that Ferrari. Then we have Luck, who is getting reeled in by Mavie a bit. Mavie was struggling in the qualifying session, but now he is right on up into 6th place. It's about as well as it could have gone for the Ferrari and the Brazilian there.
That qualifying was honestly a shocker. I'm glad to see he's at least redeemed himself in the race.
Indeed, and ultimately, like, we could talk about quali all we want, but the finishing order that matters is the race one, and, well, maybe it's going to get all the points here if he manages to hold this position and get by Luck, and it'll be a solid 4-5 for Ferrari right now. Maru in the Sauber is going to be having a fight with Sergel in the McLaren. That McLaren driver needs to get them some points. They want to mount a challenge for the constructors later on, especially if Red Bull get a 2-3 here in these conditions. And Sergel might be feeling that pressure in the McLaren. Looks a little bit to the inside, but they are not quite able. Oh, they have a run from the traction out of La Source. They're going to be right nose to tail right now. There is a papaya nose right up that gearbox as Sergel goes off to the inside. There's overlap. Space has to be given here. No, Sergel backs out of it, and the Sauber manages to hold that position. Just not quite enough of a run. Are they going to go for it here? You cannot really make an overtake at this hairpin. It's difficulty.
He's trying. He is trying.
Kimaru a little bit late on the throttle, potentially, compared to the McLaren. That McLaren has pace right now. Sergel maybe getting frustrated. Here in the wet, you can, and even in the dry, too, you can make a move here. But it's really difficult. Yeah.
Quite.
Sergel's backing up. I think there was a mistake through Puan, and they will have to wait another tour.
Yeah.
In order to get the potential move.
And by meantime, Mavie's been disconnected.
Oh dear. Let me fix that one. Assuming I have them added. I don't. Correct. Well, looking back though, We do have that Sauber and McLaren fighting it out really close. 3 temps is the cap. 2 temps.
Still
10th.
fighting.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to send it.
But
Oh, Sergal gets alongside on the exit of La Source.
yeah,
This
Kimura,
might be
yeah,
the chance.
and he's
And
ahead.
they're through.
Yeah, yeah, Kimuro's downfall was that he went a little too wide. The exit of La Source.
Yeah, a little too wide. Not quite able to get traction down. Not quite able to get on the power as much. Circle was able to also just get as close to the exit as they can. They almost like had something that resembled the ideal racing line, which helps when you are trying to overtake. Nice double apex to solidify the move as Kimaru maybe a little frazzled, and Noble's gonna have a shot at here. Both Williams do have a time penalty. They do need to get Pai if they want to have a potential to hold on to whatever gains they make in these moments. Skylar has now fallen 3 seconds behind Laz in the second Sauber, as this is far from an ideal race for the Aston Martin duo.
Yep. And I think if my eyes don't tell, Skylar is missing an end plate. He is missing his left end plate.
Let me, yeah. There is, in fact, a missing end plate, and that just compounds itself in the wet. I wonder if there was a little bit of contact when they were racing really hard for a bit there. Because that explains this really sudden drop-off in pace. I'm surprised Skylar hasn't gone in to fix it. You should be able to have the Inters last to the end of the race, and he kind of needs an end plate in these conditions.
Though I generally don't think I don't think I feel it as much, though I could be wrong.
Yeah, like, this might even just be one of those moments where the car feels drivable, so you want to give it a go, but you're losing so much time right now to your one main competition, which in this case is Laz and that P10, and I'm surprised that the Aston team is keeping him out right now. I don't think I like that call, I should say.
Uh, or any team orders.
Yeah, well, Avo hasn't really also made his own dent into the gap here. I do know from... Sorry, I raced with Skylar as Sergal gets past maybe again. These two fighting. There's also some fighting further up between Zahao and Luck. Luck turns on the batteries here. They're going into Blanchiment. Does Luck have the run to make this work? 3 temps is about the gap. No.
Not quite, no.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to do anything
He's
into
a lot closer.
Ooh! I think Luck was on the power just a little bit earlier than Zahao.
Yeah,
Got really close and had to back out or hit Zahao in the rear. And indeed, as has been pointed out too, the rain has stopped falling. We may be getting some drier conditions, which also might inform actually Aston Martin decision making here. It's as the track starts to dry. Well, it's gonna become a race of timing. If you time it right, you get such an advantage. Like, that can make or break your race right there. The timing on the tire change from the inters to the slicks. The inters can hold up for quite a while in these conditions, and even aren't bad in the mixed conditions. Normally what the drivers look for is DRS being disabled or enabled. Some also just have a better feel for it. Whenever DRS gets enabled, though, you will expect to see a horde of them come in. Some may try to time it a little earlier, some may not.
In other words, who blinks first?
If you want to put it that eloquently. Luck is right on Zahao right now, as they zoom on through Blanchiment, the fast left-hander. Going to be approaching the bus stop. Zahao does go defensive. Little bit of a trade there. Some good racing, but Zahao is holding the inside. He swings out, and that is a good defensive drive there from Zahao. Luck may look to send it on the bus, or on La Source, excuse me. Nope.
Nope, still nose to gearbox.
Indeed. And Random has a 3-second time penalty for going off track. He is currently 13 seconds behind Avery in P13. Not an ideal week.
Yeah, pretty much the last of the runners.
Yep, here comes Luck to the inside. He's having some pretty good pace right now, but not quite able to get by Zahao here. Look at
He is edging.
the inside.
He is close.
He manages to get some traction through the hairpin, and they're side by side. They are side by side through No Name right now, banging wheels as they go down the Puan. Luck is edging out Zahao, but Zahao is looking to the inside. Zahao is still on the inside. It's a traction race for Puan, as now these two are going through. Zahao on the outside, trying to compromise that line and hold the position. They are neck and neck as they now go through this double left-hander. Zahao manages to outbrake. Luck goes behind. An incredible little battle. Corvix is in, Lenny's also in. So our first two drivers are coming in. I'm going to expect to see Sierra maybe come in as well. Yep, Sierra's coming in. And as drivers notice, I'm going to expect a bunch of them to enter. Yep, here comes Zahao. Here comes Luck.
We're in that changeover period.
Yep, they are putting on the slicks. DRS is enabled. Sergal has... Have they stayed out? They have stayed out.
You stay out.
Yep. So far the only one to stay out. Can't help but feel that as a bit of a mistake at this point. Maybe going on to the hards as Noble stays out. Luck has pit. A couple other drivers. Laz has stayed out.
I want to say some don't want to double stack, and some might be getting at their own strategies.
Indeed, but well, the time loss from double stacking here is not quite as much as the time loss from being on the wrong tire. Avery holding 10th. We'll see what pays off in the end, but it looks like Circle is going to be under pressure from Sierra, who is on those slicks. Those slicks are just going to have the grip to out-accelerate that McLaren, and he's through on the exit of Puan. A couple other drivers just going to be losing time right now as they go through the motions here. Corvix 4.2 second gap, and maybe has disconnected again. Luck pulling off to the inside of Circle, and it looks like it's coming a wee bit undone for the second McLaren driver. Though, the blessing in disguise here is that
they make contact.
There was contact! As Circle was on the inside, Zahao was on the outside.
Oh,
Circle trying to enter the pits and just bangs into Zahao. And yeah, I can't help but feel that that is on, like,
yeah,
my
that's
backseat, that is on
that's on
Circle.
Razors. That's on Razors.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you are to the outside of the pits, of the pit lane there, and essentially how going to the outside there, you just have to tour around again, as much as it hurts. But if you wanted to hold, you had to hold to the line that would allow you to guarantee your pit entry. Going into the bus stop's braking zone. Noble is the only one still out on inters right now, though he should be coming in shortly. Circle going down into P9. That'll be a P8 once Noble comes in.
Yeah, and coincidentally, Noble also has an end plate missing.
Yeah, oh. Interesting. Meanwhile, Skylar is on the medium tire. Avo opted for the hard. Same with Laz. Same with Kimaru, Mavi. And Random. The other drivers are on the mediums, except for Noble, who is still out on the inters. He should be coming in, though. And I've been told, too, that they had discussed that pit entry in the drivers' meeting. Hopefully they do get a little bit more attention paid, but luckily everybody is still running, which is, I think, ultimately what matters here anyway. And that's Noble with another time penalty. He kind of cut the bus stop, and he
And he
almost
taps the pit
accelerated
wall.
into the wall. Yeah, almost accelerated off his wheel. That would have been a DNF if it was any harder.
I mean, scrub off just a little bit more of your FW45's front wing.
Indeed, it's already broken. You might as well keep it broken. Or maybe you're just graffiti tagging the pit wall for in the name of Williams as Noble comes out in P12. That shows you the real time loss you can get from mistiming the condition change.
For staying so long out on inters.
Indeed, Luck is currently holding P4 over Zahao, who has unfortunately lost that net P4, I think as a result of the incident over the pit lane. He's going to have to work hard to now get within those 3 seconds of Luck in order to get back that position for Ferrari.
Well, like 4 seconds if my tiny tower says on him.
Yeah, currently needs to eat in about a second to get the position. Yeah. Also looking at Skylar in P10, and Avery has a 3-second time penalty for track limits. I am surprised Noble went with the hard tires here. No, mediums will probably fall off a bit toward the end of the race. You have the middle range at the tire compound being used for the slick. So we'll see how they degrade as time goes on. I don't. This may tire performance differences may come in a little bit towards the end of the race here, at least with Skylar. And Skylar's gone wide out of Eau Rouge. It's going to cost him some time to only his teammates, but his teammate does have that 3-second time penalty. We'll see what they decide to do. As time goes on, Corvix sets the fastest lap at a 1:45 flat. Aston Martin currently holding P10, P11. Sauber having a pretty good weekend, all things considered. Humaru in P7, looking to maybe punch up a couple more positions. Laz in P9, which is a pretty good position for him if he manages to hold that. Sergel, after the incident, is in P8. But our top three right now, Corvix, a race winner last weekend, is currently leading the Belgian Grand Prix. We then have Lenny and Sierra rounding out the podium, and currently in a position to get a huge points boost out of these two. And, well, it'll solidify their lead in the constructors, especially with Sergel only holding P8. Luck in P4 in the Williams is pretty good for that team right now. The kind of finish they lead, especially if Noble is currently running where he is and unable to score for themselves. Ferrari in P5 and 6, they ideally want a little bit more out of this weekend. Zahao is kind of always right now just on the cusp of the podium, but not quite able to get there this time out. We then
Just
have...
pretty much in a
Go
run,
on.
be best of the rest.
Indeed.
As you're saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Especially good news looking... Gonna say Zahao. My point was that he's usually just on that cusp of the podium, just needs things to go a little bit more his way. Maybe, well, it's like... Unfortunately for him, that tussle really did cost him. But it also cost Sergel quite a bit. As the McLaren driver is currently in P8. Sun is now out in the Ardennes, as we are on lap 16 of 22, and these drivers are starting to really eat in and settle into their rhythms. Skylar is getting close to Laz here.
And Lenny's picked up a time penalty.
That is a 3-second time penalty. With Corvix's pace, unless Corvix makes a huge mistake, that time penalty might be the dagger for the lead Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But that also shows you that Luck gets another penalty.
Oh.
Luck would have had a comfortable P4, but now Zahao just needs a couple tenths in order to...
Yeah, he's effectively thrown that P4 away.
Not quite. It's 6.5, and Luck appears to be faster on pure pace right now. Luck maybe even had a dry setup running. We'll see. Or at least a setup that's more suited for the drives, because Zahao is tumbling in the pace. But our current pretty close battle right now between Laz and Skylar. The compound differences might come into play towards the final few tours of this Grand Prix. We'll see what Laz is able to do to defend P9 as Skylar is within a striking distance. Ooh, Laz had a slow series of corners there. This is currently the closest battle on track. The other battle to watch right now is between Luck and Zahao. Zahao needs to be within 6 seconds to get that P4 for Ferrari. They're both on the same age medium, so for those two, it'll be a pure pace race. Pure race of driver skill and their own setup. Taylor getting a decent exit out of the bus, though. And you can see both Aston Martins here. Our race leader is currently comfortably in the lead with 4 seconds to Lenny. He might be taking it easy a little bit, trying to not make any crucial mistakes, especially with 3-second time penalty on Lenny. He effectively has 7 seconds to play with, plus track position. He had a little bit of a skid through the bus stop. He's still finding the limits of this car, right? Managed to just tap the apex through the source. As it goes through to Eau Rouge. Zhao is falling further behind, Luck. 7.2 seconds now. All Luck has to do is not get another penalty. And he should be good. Oh, he is pushing quite hard, it seems, from the gaps coming in.
Yellow flag.
We have yellow flags out. That is a Williams, is it?
Yeah, it's a Williams. That is Noble.
Noble having a spin in Huan there. Probably just a little bit too much gas too quickly. And that effectively brings him out of the running for the points. Shame for the Williams driver, who wasn't running badly in the wet conditions, but we moved on to the dry condition, and he seems to have struggled a bit with these cars. Do have Skylar just teetering on the edge of competing with that Sauber. He needs to get into the DRS here at the Camel Strait. No, the detection zone's a little bit after La Source. Right on that run up to Eau Rouge and Radion, and they break here into...
Which is pretty much on the endurance pit straight.
Indeed, actually, now that I mention it. Sergel gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit violation.
Just compounding his woes.
Indeed. I wonder if he is still frazzled after pit lane incident with Zhao, or if he's just trying to push as hard as he can. So he's currently in his own little world there. So don't want to take too many more risks, because another penalty, 6 seconds total penalty, suddenly Laz. Never mind. 13 seconds back. You know what, Sergel? I apologize. Just do what you want.
Yeah, no, he's still at this rate, probably still safe-ish.
Indeed, Skylar is within a second. There is going to be a DRS opportunity coming on to the pit straight. As I go through the bus stop, he is within a second in the detection point. Gets his car rotated nice and early. Gonna let him get on the power as Avo has a little spin behind them. Avo trying to keep pace with Laz. But Skylar here is going to have a run through Eau Rouge and have DRS in the Camel Strait. Misses the apex through Radion here, unfortunately, and that is going to keep it a little bit wide, but the DRS will keep them close now.
Close-ish.
Well, at the very least, within DRS of each other. Currently, this is the closest fight on track. Luck is getting within a striking distance of Sierra, though it really isn't going to be worth it to challenge the Cornish Dragon. It's a little bit... The 6-second time penalty is too much of an act.
Yeah, with these time penalties, your best bet is simply to try and stick with the Red Bull.
Indeed. Ooh. That's Laz slow as they go through that chicane after Puon here. Entering Sector 3 now. The double right-hander. The second one is flat. And then we're going to have the fast right-hander of Blanchiment. Skylar going to be approaching on the bus stop. Tyre's holding up quite well, and he's finally found the pace as there's a yellow flag. It looks like it's for McLaren. Or was it for the Williams of Noble? It might have been for Noble.
That might have been either one of those two. Williams trying to let the leader Corvix by.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have ate much into the gap up front. We are at the point where we won't get any more safety cars. Yeah, whoop. I saw a little bit of a teleporting Sauber on my end. At least I think I saw that, as Lenny is pitting. I'm going to assume that is... Yep, he's going for the fastest lap point. Yep, it's for the fastest lap point. We'll see if he's able to get that point. I mean, it makes sense to go for it. You had a large gap to the only other driver there being your teammate. And he is going to come out in a good position. Skylar right up that gearbox as they go through Puan now. These two are very close in the waning moments of this Grand Prix. Laz a little slow out. Zahao is also going for the fastest lap point. Though his teammate is going to get by. I think that is more about the constructors and their calculations. Though, that is not ideal. You do want to let your teammate by if you are Mavie here. As they both go for the fastest lap. We'll see if they manage to get the swap off, and they do. Skylar is now side by side going into the inside of Lasaurus. Laz taking an extreme outside line, not quite able to get to the apex, excuse me. And Skylar's through, but Laz will have a shot as we go through Eau Rouge Radion onto the Camel Straits DRS zone. It is the longest DRS zone, well, not the longest DRS zone because of Vegas, but one of the longest DRS zones on the calendar.
The longest of the traditional tracks.
Indeed. Laz gets through on that DRS zone. Skylar jumping the gun a little bit as Corvix begins the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix here. We'll see if Lenny's able to get that fastest lap point. See, we're right behind, providing the cover to allow him to do it. Luck not able to challenge there. Zahao will also be attempting to get the fastest lap point. Both key for constructors' battles in their own ways. And for Lenny, if he manages to find form later on in the season, that may even be key for a shot at the Drivers' Championship. But we'll see what they manage to pull off here, as Corvix is going to be rounding Sector 2 for the final time. Entering Sector 3 for the last time. Now, Laz has to defend here. He's used up all of his battery, which is not a great look. I saw some flashing lights, a little bit of a yellow flag over there. I think some drivers were just off. Skylar has one more chance right now as Avo rounds the bus stop for the penultimate time as well. He is not lapped officially. Skylar will have one chance as Corvix comes on in to win the Belgian Grand Prix. Very clean, very smooth. Dominant drive today from him. Looking back, though, Skylar pulls off to the inside of the Sauber, and he's through. He's through on the straight. Laz is going to be looking to maybe fight back. No, he doesn't have it. Lenny has the fastest lap of 1:42.6. That is second for him. Sierra finishes up the Red Bull double podium. And then it's Luck in fourth right now. Zahao is going to be coming in fifth. As I am looking at this final battle. Yep. Skylar is through. I don't see a way through for Laz He's not going to have enough time to get into the bus stop and maybe send it.
It's pretty much ironclad unless the off chance that Skylar slips up.
Indeed, Zihao unable to get that fastest lap. Lenny will take the point there. Mavie coming in P6 for Ferrari, finishing up a decent race for them. We have Kimaru coming in P7 for the Saubers. Sergel rounding up a pretty dismal race for that second McLaren driver compared to what potential there was. And we have Skylar rounding out in P9 after the last lap pass. Laz in P10 just taking it easy through the bus stop. Avo will be our final finisher in P11. Our first broadcasted wet race is over. And our first wet race since Canada in Season 3.
We're probably...
And it went a lot smoother than last time, too.
Yep.
Corvix wins again. Oh my god, that podium emote.
That's Corvix for ya.
The camera angle was unfortunately covered by a bar, because this is a perfect game with no flaws whatsoever. I'm not even getting the podium music.
Me neither.
Codemasters, Masters of Code. Red Bull 2-3 on the podium solidifies their push for the constructors and their lead, getting them a whopping 34 points. Corvix, though, solidifies his lead in the Drivers' Championship with another 25. A net swing of 6 compared to Lenny, giving him a decent lead for that title. There wasn't any Leo today. Well, due to some issues. The other real rival for the Drivers' Championship there. I don't remember rain in China. I'll be real. I just don't remember it.
From little I've seen it, when we looked dry, that might be my memory playing tricks on me.
Yeah. I do need to add Noble and maybe two different. Kinda heckin' wimp. Yep. Let me add these two so that I can be able to reinvite them. When I need to. But for now, though, I think we do have a week-long break. And yet No, we do not. We have Singapore next weekend on February 15th. Speaking of tracks that are kind of... Well, they do have the potential to get wet. But until then, though, join us then on the 15th of February for the Singapore Grand Prix. I have been Nexy. I'm joined by Kritas in the comm booth. Thank you to everyone involved. Thank you to Leah for doing the driver's briefing. Thank you to our stewards, Polo and company. Those are other important figures in this league. RFIA is pretty important, and I always like to thank them because often they get a little bit backed on. It was an exciting wet race. I hope that they continue to be that exciting for now. Take care. And on my